Okay, so I watched the videos and I'm answering the first question. What was your opinion of each of the assessment strategies? List each one and give your personal opinion. So, from what I'm understanding, the first one was the Mentimeter word cloud. And then we had self-assessment, we had informal assessment, and we had the exit ticket assessment. Okay, so the Mentimeter / word cloud is the one that he focused on. I like how different the word cloud was. I thought that was really neat. His question was, how are you feeling? And although that's not necessarily a test question, but he gave a good example of how that works. And I thought that was really great. I loved how it could show all the different words for everyone to see. And so it was kind of like a good icebreaker for the kids to see the different emotions maybe that everyone's feeling in that day. But there were so many different things you could do on the Mentimeter. It had multiple choice, image choice, word cloud, scales, open-ended questions in 2x2 matrix, and who will win, and then the question and answer and quick forms. So there were many options, and I loved how you could do it on your phone and smart devices, and that you could access it that way. I really liked that. Okay, and then the self-assessment was so cool how he had the small group. He had the green card, yellow, and red card so that these students could be a lot more independent as they were working. And so they were, I guess he was calling that the self-assessment. And so the green card meant, hey, I'm working hard. Yellow card meant I'm working hard, but I have a question. And I like how in the video he was like, okay, you have a question, but you were able to continue on. So you chose the yellow card. And then the red card meant, hey, I'm stopped. I cannot move forward without your help. I also thought he made a good point in saying this works best in small group time, because I can see how if you were to give that to a whole class, it would be overwhelming. They would really want, especially first graders, which is what I'm familiar with after this year, they would really feel the need to use those cards. So I do like how he talked about using that only during small group time. And then there was the informal assessment of possibly the kindergartners, maybe it was, but with letter recognition. I thought that was brilliant. Having the kids line up and assessing them at the same time, like while they're lining up, having them answer the question before they line up. I thought that was absolutely great, and she used her time really well with that. And so I thought that was wonderful. I really liked it. And then the exit ticket was really great too. She kind of reviewed or concluded her class at the end of her lesson, and then she left them with a question and said, hey, write your name down and write 2 examples of renewable resources. And I thought that was really great because she didn't have them just like set it on her desk or leave it on their desk. Like she actually stood at the door and took it from them and took the time to read it as they were leaving. So a lot of multitasking is going on with this assessment, but she's able to interact with them before they leave and comment on, like one kid wrote livestock, and she was able to comment on that and kind of bring that home for that kid and for that student. And I thought that was really interactive, and that's going to help them to retain that information a lot better. And I love how nice she was about correcting that student. Didn't downgrade the student or make the student feel like the student wasn't smart, but it was just like a learning time. And then it says, my view of assessment has changed. These are just little notes I took. My view of assessment has changed because the more I learn, the more I'm realizing that assessment is part of learning. It isn't the finale of learning something, rather it is the foundation of learning. The actual assessment is taking what the student has learned thus far and putting it in concrete, which in return can actually cause the information to be permanently in our minds. So I hope that makes sense. But what I mean is just really the test is actually, it's not the final part of learning, but it's just taking what we have learned and making it more concrete and in our minds. It's kind of solidifying that, even though it's not the last part of learning. And so I've never really viewed tests that way. I've always seen a test as the end point. Like, okay, I took this test and now I'm done with that. But it's actually different in my mind now after reading and watching these videos. And then the last and final question, aside from a traditional pencil paper assessment, which has its place, brainstorm 2 ideas of how you could assess learning. So I definitely, I'm trying to not read everything that I wrote down. So my 2 ideas for assessing learning would be to do addition and subtraction by counting the math weight while waiting in line to use the restroom, and transitioning to small group time in the afternoon. I could ask students how to spell review words by tapping them out as I call them to disperse their centers, to go to their different centers and their groups. So I feel like that those 2 ideas would be great. I have a yard full of neighborhood kids with my own children right now, and so that's why I'm in such a rush. So I'm going to go ahead and go, and hopefully I covered everything. Thank you.